Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your host for the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast and your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on Sports Illustrated. Joined as I am each and every week by tremendously successful journalist and an equally as successful attorney down in the Atlanta Buckhead area of Georgia who joins us each and every week. My good buddy, the great Jonathan Shop. Jonathan, it's great to have you on the program today. Let's talk about the Raiders. When you look at what happened against Carolina, and I loved, I loved Antonio Pierce going to that podium saying players made business decisions. We're going to make business decisions. I loved it because he showed the fans, listen, I'm not going to get up here and give you coach speak. I grew up a fan of this team. I cut my teeth at the LA Coliseum watching this team. I'm one of you. I'm mad. I'm pissed. I'm angry. It's unacceptable. And he put a stake in the ground. And as the week went on, I mean, the team responded. And I asked him last Friday, I guess 8 days ago now, what'd you learn about your team? He's a character, just the way that they responded. And when you look at him and the way they responded against Cleveland, it was ugly. But that's a really good defense on a very bad team. And who cares? Al Davis's motto was just win, not just win pretty. And that's all in the NFL that matters. You could find any team that lost last week and they would trade places with the Raiders. An ugly win. Wins are so precious, but this guy is legit. He's the real deal. He's genuine. I love it. 99% of his players love him. I just love the way he leads from the front. Please talk about your thoughts about the win and about Antonio Pierce. Then we're going to come back in a minute and I want to talk about quarterback.
The guy is observing his team, coaching his team, leading his team. He's trying to play it straight. He's telling you what he sees, and a lot of times that's what you see watching as a fan. He's not hiding from it. He's saying we're going to go right through this to get to where we want to go. We're not going to take a detour. We're not going to try to ghost around. We're not going to try to take a shortcut. We got to get to where we need to get. Some things very happy about, some things not as happy about. It is an interesting season so far, isn't it? All this stuff on paper. And he talked about, hey, I know where people had us, and it's a tricky path, but they're not too far off of where we thought they would be. And I think we've got a very interesting 5 games coming up here. So hopefully the work that Pierce has done has set the table for what needs to be done. Everybody has injury issues, and obviously the Raiders may have a major one that's got to get resolved. But what you're starting to see is a little bit of resolve from a team. They know that, like you said, every game is tough. And I don't think it's that easy playing against the Browns defense at this time of the year. Maybe later in the year when their season's totally out of the wind, maybe a different story. But there's a lot to like here. There's some excitement that's there with Bowers. There's some work in progress that you still see. And I think it's a very key 5 games coming up. I think of those 5 games coming up, they've got to find a way to win 2. If they win 3 or more, that's fantastic. I like the second half of the schedule better for the Raiders to make the run. But right now, they got to stay in it. They got to stay in it. They got to find a way to win 2 of the next 5 without any question. Plenty of folks would like to see this one be one that they get Sunday because we know who they are going against.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you 110%. So let's talk about Gardner Minshew because let's not pretend he's Peyton Manning. Nobody is. But they got a young quarterback in there in Aiden O'Connell, and who they still believe in. And I know everyone thinks, oh, it's Hondo. No, it has nothing to do with his faith or his color that I'm promoting him. I just know what the players are telling me and what the coaches and what the people are telling me in the organization. But to me, Gardner was on a very short leash on Sunday, and he responded. I just like his moxie. I like his short-term memory. And right now, it's ugly, but he's finding a way to win. I'd love your thoughts on Gardner Minshew.
I go way back with Gardner Minshew to watching him play a good bit at Washington State. It's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He's too small. He's too slow. He doesn't throw the ball hard enough. He's never really going to be productive, and all he does is produce. Now you fast forward between that time leaving Washington State and where he is today. He knows this is it. This is his chance to be a starter at the NFL. He also should know and feel some comfort in this is probably the best version of Gardner Minshew he's ever going to be as a player, as far as his age, as far as his experience, as far as his grasp and mastery of the mental game. He also knows he's in there to make good decisions and throw the ball very accurately. And the more he does that, the more he's going to advance his team. He's not in there for a big cannon deep shot. He's just not. He's not in there because he is a multifaceted quarterback that can run and make plays after things break down. He's there to make smart decisions and really accurate throws. So that, understanding that, there seems to be a comfort in his skin. Now, is he going to be growing? It looks like there may be some signs of growth. And as Antonio Pierce said, and everybody sees, there's some other chances for growth to occur. I am, as many people are, really interested to see what the Raiders do offensively to try to create or exploit some mismatches. Do they go with more multiple tight end situations? Do they find ways to get the ball to Bowers almost as a benchmark? And what happens with that running game? But the quarterback position, is it limited? Sure it is. But does that limit this team from being out of playoff contention? I don't think so. Minshew knows he's in there to throw the ball accurately and make good decisions. I think progress is being made. And again, these next 5 games really are probably going to tell the tale for what happens to him.
Totally agree with you. I think progress is being made. I want to talk about Monday Night Football.
That was a good one.
They do 2 of them, and they, where it's one and then right after another one. Now this time you got multiple going on at the same time. Let's just talk about Monday Night Football shootouts and more than one record and
Yep.
How do you like it when they're back to back? Do you like them when they're playing at the same time? You're going back and forth. What are your thoughts?
People know what I'm going to say. This is the trial run for the 1 o'clock local kickoff, and we love it. We love it for multiple reasons. Number one out of every 3 games or so is going to kind of be a clunker or whatnot. You saw that on Monday night. Number 2, we can grab more of the pie, more of the audience. This is the training ground for my move to move all these games to 1 o'clock local. Some of you out there know that, and if you don't, welcome to the party. That's what they're trying out here, and we like it. I like it more than what we got coming this Sunday, for example. Now, are some people overlooked in life on a more regular basis by more eyeballs than they should be? Yes. And one of them at this time is certainly Jared Goff. This is an incredible story, an incredible comeback story. Whether or not you believe he didn't know which side the sun rose from, going back to the Hard Knocks days, this is a guy who, a tremendous evaluator at the highest level of his profession, determined we can't get any further with him. We need to move on. And that's a difficult thing probably to absorb. And Goff could have just filtered away and withered away like a lot of first round draft picks, top draft picks that were kind of discarded. He did not. He needs a good hunk of credit for doing an incredible job rebuilding his career. There were a lot of folks that didn't think this would happen. And then he goes out and basically throws a perfect game on Monday night in an all-time shootout. And that's not the only record that happens. The Seahawks, 38 first down, the most in any NFL game in more than 10 years, and the most in history for a losing team. Isn't that amazing? 38 first downs for a losing team. That game was exciting. Ken Walker is probably the best athlete running the ball right now. You've got my guy Smith and Jigba and a bunch of other guys in the Seahawks. The Lions look like they are as tuned up as anybody could be. I like those 2 teams. I like the Seahawks to get better from here. But listen, you've got to take your hat off to the Lions, and you've got to say Jared Goff just threw one of the better games. He threw one of the better games we've ever seen. And it got overlooked, unfortunately, by his coach. And I know he didn't do it intentionally. I hope Goff doesn't care much. But for whatever reason, Goff has been a little bit overlooked.
I got to tell you, I was talking to an NFL executive on Tuesday, and he said to me, this is where fans don't understand the power of the staff behind the head coach, where they don't, it's no big deal. We got the head coach we wanted. Well, how would you like to be the Rams, where McVay is a highly respected coach? Let's not pretend like he's not. But he's being told we can't go farther with Goff, so they get rid of him. Now Stafford's at the end of his career, still playing good, but end of his career. And you got Goff, who's playing at a very high level right now. There's a lot of Rams fans that should be upset.
I think there are. I think they are. And they're wondering, like, hey, what happened here? Because it was obviously in there. And did McVay just was he getting frustrated, overwhelmed? Not, obviously, he's in a different setup situation now. His staff looks like they failed a bit. It's interesting. And like you said, it's not going to be very long until Matt Stafford's in a TV booth or TV desk and Jared Goff's still playing. He looks like he's got many years to play at a high level.
I want to ask you about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the owner comes out, puts $250 million into Trevor Lawrence, gets a new stadium. They go to the playoffs a couple years ago, 2 seasons of 9-8. The owner comes out this year and says, and who by the way is a super respected owner in the NFL, Shad Khan. He's willing to put any amount of money up to win. He hires football people, stays out of the way. He's a lot like Mark Davis, very respected. And now the team's 0-4. Our Sports Illustrated beat writer, John Shipley, requests to talk to him. You know, you're 0-4. He wants to talk to Trent Baalke, the general manager. No. It's stunning to me. I think Belichick's a perfect fit for Jacksonville. We're seeing a lot of people talk about that. How big of a deal? First of all, do you think that Khan should just get rid of coach and general manager? What do you think of him bringing in a guy like a Bill Belichick there? What's your thoughts on what's going on in Jacksonville?
For Bill Belichick, yeah, I think you clear the deck. And you're going to get a motivated Bill Belichick because, look, he thought he would. It seems to me he thought he was coming to work down here and coach Kirk Cousins with the Falcons, and then like the rug got pulled out. I think Belichick is better as a enormous fish in a smaller pond in Jacksonville than he is as a huge fish in the biggest pool that there is in Dallas. I mean, that's a top level job with the Raiders, the Steelers, the Giants, as far as like, whoa, this is a huge pond. I like the idea of Belichick down in Jacksonville. Nobody's going to question him, and he's going to have a lot of chance to do some good things. I think, unfortunately, you got to clear the house. I don't know what the deal is. I don't like what Doug Peterson said. He is what Doug Peterson said would be good on a TV desk as far as we are supposed to put the players in position to make plays. That's the job of a coach. Yes, but the way he said that last week, it looked like he was blaming players, and that's probably true. And there's probably some players that need to be blamed. Maybe Doug Peterson could do more to shed the light on, look, there's 11 on 11. And in the NFL, if one guy gets beat, you know, that probably doesn't go too well. If a couple guys get beat or they're totally failing in their assignments as far as where to go, what to do, we're going to get blown up. That might be better. But all this is from a way defensive posture, and it is not good. The season is down the toilet for the Jaguars. They got the guy that ripped them off. It's like, what's going on in that building? They need a shakeup. I understand there could be some cold feet from what happened with Urban Meyer. No need to worry about that. Bill Belichick is not Urban Meyer. Those two are both super successful and pals. I like Belichick in Jacksonville more than any other opportunity I see for him right now, although we know he's got a heart. There's one in there. And that heart always is going to have Giants blue inside of it.
All right, let's talk real quickly. Jaden Daniels was NFL ready, and to his credit, Brian Kelly talked about that. But you're seeing this in the NFL. Too many guys are getting rushed. There are a lot of people now want to throw Bryce Young away. Several teams have reached out to Carolina. Carolina doesn't want to trade him. But I'm sorry, I think they may have ruined him in Carolina. I ridiculous, in my opinion. He shouldn't have been starting last year, maybe this year. But anyways, my point to you is the NFL these are supposed to be the expert, and very few of them are when it comes to the quarterback position. I'd love your analysis.
David Carr is a name that comes to mind. Remember, his career got ruined just getting tackled and sacked, probably out too soon because his team wasn't ready. What I see in Daniels is this is a guy that was NFL ready. For those that remember that show, we talked about when Brian Kelly accidentally leaked what was going to happen. It turns out he was accurate. Brian Kelly knew the kind of coaching that Daniels had at Arizona State. He knew the kind of coaching he was going to get with him at LSU, and he also knows what's demanded at the NFL level. His opinion about the readiness of that quarterback carried some weight. The Washington football team's evaluation of Daniels told them all they need to know. They're not surprised that he got in the building and started going the way he did, but it puts a huge contrast on who is NFL ready as a quarterback, who is not, and what franchises are ready. CJ Stroud is outstanding. Daniels is outstanding, but there's some common threads in their development, their coaching, their steps to take to be ready to play in the NFL that have to be applied. You see Richardson in Indianapolis, and you have no idea. Does this guy look like he's NFL ready? Obviously, physically he is, but I mean, it's like, well, I'm not really sure. And you see the mayonnaise man, Will Levis. I don't know that he's NFL ready at all. And now he may have an injury again that may be a very serious issue. That AC joint sprain is not always friendly to careers. It's a very
look at how Malik Willis. I mean, they throw Malik Willis away, and look at he's doing great in Green Bay. Levis, I'm seeing now some mock drafts by insiders, them taking another quarterback. You can't invest that kind of money in quarterbacks. This is where Drew Stanton on this podcast, who is so universally respected around the NFL now as one of the premier quarterback scouts, talked about, I wouldn't select Bo Nix. Look how he's playing.
Yeah.
He said, wouldn't touch Caleb Williams in the first round. Look how Caleb's playing. I mean,
here's the interesting thing. With Daniels, what has stood out to some folks is there's been so few negative plays. Now, has this been an unbelievable run where they're barely punting and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, it has. Is it going to stay this good forever? Probably not. It's not a tiny sample size, though. But the point is, and the point that, what would Stanton know? He only worked, how many years did he work under Bruce Arians, who just knows just a little bit about quarterback play? There are traits and there are things that have to be done before the snap that some guys are just not ready to do at the NFL level. And it can end up bringing the whole house down and end up getting them sacked and just hammered. And that starts messing everything up. This is very interesting because it's going to come a time, hopefully very, very soon, where you're practically drafting a quarterback every year. And that guy that's going to be drafted for most of those teams is going to be set on a pure development path. I think we will arrive to a year where guys that go that route end up having really good careers and probably passing by a lot of guys that are drafted high and they're just out there too soon.
John, we got a legal question I got to get to with you.
Yeah.
So a former Jaguars employee who stole from the team is now suing online gambling site FanDuel. You and I have talked ad nauseum about gambling in the NFL, but this I understand because you've told me before, people can sue over anything.
Yep.
But this just looks like frivolity. I would like to see the European form of court systems where the loser pays the other's attorney fees. This just appears to me somebody looking for a settlement to make a buck. Can you please explain to me and make some sense of this, oh great legal mind that you are?
It looks to me to be a suit out of necessity because the obligations on the former employee are so high. Like he can't pay. He's got judgments and cases against him that he's got to sue. And basically what he's saying is that they intentionally targeted and preyed on him with incentives, credits, gifts to create, nurture, expedite, and or exacerbate his addiction with the only possible outcome that he would ultimately hit rock bottom. Basically, what this suit is about is that you provided too much candy that you knew I couldn't say no to, and I ate it. There are different legal sports gambling regulations around the world. Perhaps this inspires some change to it. I don't see a ton of merit at all in this specific suit, unless this guy was getting a whole lot of stuff on the phone here that most of us weren't get. But you see all the commercials all games long. use it or lose it bet, promotions to put the cash in, no sweat bet, all that kind of stuff. That's what this is after. I don't know that it's going to go very far. I don't know that he's got a really good case, but it's a suit out of necessity because this guy on paper owes so much money to the Jaguars. It's beyond belief. The bigger issue here is a Jacksonville issue, and it's maybe Mr. Khan having too much trust in people. Checks and balances matter. It's amazing that this guy was doing what he did and nobody else was looking at something and saying, hello, we may have a problem here. Whether you have an outside accounting come in or whether you have internal security, this is why people have those kind of things, because look at what's going on. And I don't know if there's any effect at all on the football team with all this. It's a small market. I don't know if it bothers anybody at all, but this is a bad scene. And it's bringing light to what is a huge, and the gorilla of FanDuel and DraftKings, the gorilla is growing. How many more ads and everything are we going to see during these games before they recess a bit? I don't know. The NFL's got an eye on this. I'm sure all the other organizations do. They've got to do whatever they can to keep this from becoming a problem like it is. This is a huge story. And if this was in Dallas or New York, or if it was in Las Vegas, it'd really be a story. Or with the Rams, it would be a monster story. It's odd. I don't think the suit has a lot of merit. We will follow it, and we will probably get to talk about it again in June or July.
All right. Each and every week, you select the four most interesting games. We call it our fearsome foursome. Where are we on the year? And then let's get to today's 4 games.
I believe you are up 1 because last week the Cowboys and Giants game went the right way. Let's put it that way. So I'm hanging in there, which is pretty good. A lot of times I'm on the floor by now. This week we've got 4 of reasonable interest as the season really takes some shape. We're getting into the end of the first section, if you will. I really think it's an interesting game because of where they are in the standings. We're talking about Dallas and Pittsburgh. It's not just the names, it's where they are in the standings. This is a chance. This is a real chance for a career to really be put back on a much better track for Justin Fields. A guy that has a long release, a guy that has a tremendous offensive coordinator. He's working with Arthur Smith. I think they're making progress. I want to see the Steelers jacked up. Who doesn't like it when the Cowboys get whacked on national TV? But it's a big one. Cowboys 2-2, Steelers 3-1, Steelers.
Not close. Pittsburgh.
Micah Parsons being out. I mean,
close.
And you want to talk about how big a deal it is with Micah Parsons being out. It's a difference between Dallas has a chance and not close. That guy affects so many plays just by being on the field. This is a big one. Buffalo at Houston. Again, take a look at the standings. Take a look at who's doing what. This one, high flyer. Experience of the Bills. Young upstart of Houston. A lot of eyeballs going to be on this one. I'm going against my own grain. I want Houston this time.
Buffalo. I think Houston is a great team. I think they're growing, but I think this reminds me a lot of when the Chicago Bulls with a great young player by the name of Michael Jordan were trying to unseat the bad boys of the NBA, the Detroit Pistons. I think Houston's the future. I'm a buyer, but Buffalo's there to just say, tap the brakes. I'm going with Buffalo.
When this decade is done, will the first round picks of Houston last year go down as the best first round in the NFL?
I think very good chance.
I mean, they could have 2 serious producers. We love talking Ravens. Did you guys anybody see the Athletic piece about the best organizations in the NFL? It's not just me. It's not just Hondo beating the Ravens drum. They're up there at the top. They got 1. Now, look, they rocked and rolled last week, which is good. You can't rock and roll too hard in the NFL. It's not like college where you beat somebody too badly the week before and you regress the next week. They have 1 again that they have to get. I like this. Divisional battle. Some backs are against the wall. Baltimore at Cincinnati. I don't want to hear anything about the Cincinnati fans. Forget it. Baltimore. On we go.
It is all Baltimore, and they are going to roll them. I said before the season I thought Baltimore was a Super Bowl team, and I stand by it.
Amazing is Derrick Henry can still move. And when he gets going, it's almost comical to be like, well, that guy's not going to take him down. And you start trying to look at the field real quick and be like, that guy can't get him. That guy can't get him. Well, maybe that guy. Downhill action really going to be an issue later in the year for tired tacklers if Derrick Henry is healthy. And I think Baltimore knows how to keep his reps in check to try to optimize him for the games that matter most in December and January, etc. Oh, boy. The Chiefs. Really wise draft pick, of course, first round. Now extraordinarily important. This has got to be the end, doesn't it? The Chiefs can't win this one. We're talking New Orleans and Kansas City. I got to go. New Orleans. I got to go New Orleans. At some point, this streak has got to stop. I got New Orleans in a massive upset. New Orleans.
John.
They're going to beat themselves. I got the Chiefs beating themselves.
All right. I need you to go get your gorgeous bride, and I want her to take your blood pressure.
I got upset.
I don't even know. Okay, you just gave me two because I'm taking Buffalo and Kansas City, and we agreed on the other two. Merry Christmas to me, John. He is the great Jonathan Shop. Joins us each and every week. John, tell everybody where to find you on social media.
I will be at JP Spartan when New Orleans does what they need to do.